Out there, it's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project and the Doug.Show. This is the live stream for Friday, December 27th. So let me know in the chat if you could hear me. I think it probably should be working. It looks like it should be working. And we got a few things to cover today. Now, this is part of the Doug.Show, like road show here. And we're in a different location. You may realize we're in a totally different location here, and it's a little different. But I tried to get in front of the window here. Hopefully, it's not too blown out. I look very pale here, but we'll do what we can. This is what we're working with today. So we got a few topics to cover. I'm just gonna ramble on a little bit about what I've been up to around here. And do say hello in the chat. It's wonderful if you let me know where you're from. People can chat amongst yourselves as well. So we have Tom PW. We got Stuart. What's going on? Stuart, I haven't seen you around in a while. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. And yeah, I've been traveling a bit. So yeah, we're in a different location. My in-laws were a little bit further out from where we were in some of the other spots, but generally it just looks different. It's not as dark behind me, and I'm still in front of a window. So I have realized that is the key to make this look a little bit better. And Tom's out of the Chicago area. So like I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about holidays and traveling, choosing a niche. I'm just going to talk about that briefly. And surviving a Google update. I have a link in the description for various things down here. And we're going to be playing clips today. That is going to be very helpful because I caught a cold. Everyone around me seems to be sick. Not everyone. It's maybe about half the people that I ran into had a cold in the last month. Maybe a third. But everyone knows someone who had a cold. So I caught a cold for a couple days. I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling a lot better. I got a lot of rest over the last couple days. Slept in late, which is pretty rare for me, but I'm all out of sorts. I haven't been going to bed early enough, so I'm staying up late. I'm eating terrible. I haven't been working out. Just really, really out of my normal routine. Oh, we have Jeremy from Florida, Paul from Ireland. Awesome. So we're going to talk holidays, traveling, picking a niche, surviving a Google update. There's a couple products I'm going to mention today. And by the way, basically anything you hear me mentioning, if it's a product you could buy, I am an affiliate for it. So that means I get a commission, which is great. It helps me do more of these live streams, create videos, do the podcast, all that stuff. So help support the channel in general. So I appreciate it if you do buy any of those products, and you can, maybe it's not the right time for any particular one. That's okay. There's actually a lot of links in the description, so you could check them out. We have Adnan and Dennis. What's up? Happy holidays. Monty, what's up? Good to have you on. And funny enough, today I had very little time to prepare all of this because of sickness and all that. But I think I actually started this one on time. I started this live stream on time versus many of the others where I'm just a couple minutes late, always like a minute late or so. Mark says everyone is sick. Oh, Mark from the Lawrenceville area. Yeah, everyone seems to be sick. And then I had some relatives from out of town coming in like us. So there were all new strains of, sickness from little kids and all that. I think I'm going to pull through. I got a few days of driving getting back to Colorado, so I'm hoping I can pull through and it won't be too bad for me. But NyQuil and DayQuil seems to do a pretty good job for me. I'm very reactive to the medicine, so if I get some chills or I get a little bit of a fever, usually I can take some medicine and I'm in good shape. So, and Adnan is from Istanbul. Nice. Yeah, so I appreciate the patience. One interesting side effect from the sickness and potentially taking the medicine, but I'm having trouble choosing the right words. So I'm like talking slower. I'm not sure if my wife noticed. She's sitting behind me working, hidden. so you can't even see her, but she's listening. She's always listening. So I don't know if she's noticed, but I'm talking slower because I just can't figure out what word I want to say. Yeah. So, but one thing that I did earlier today is I took Formula, which is the nootropic that I used. And for the longtime supporters of the channel here, you probably remember I did a couple interviews with the founders of Formula. Very interesting stories. They were not related to marketing or affiliate marketing or a lot of the normal topics. So they actually didn't get as many views from the normal viewers, but a lot of other people watched those videos and very insightful. So anyway, I do have a link in the description if you want to check out the nootropics that I use. The cool part is there's a lot of, you take a survey. I think it's like a 4 or 5 minute survey or so. You answer questions about what you want to try to do and the struggles that you have. And then they recommend specific formulas, and they have several different ones. I typically use Clarity, which is the one I took today, and then Creativity. And that's one that I take sometimes if I'm speaking, but a lot of times if I'm writing or brainstorming. And the cool part is they have many different formulas that they can like recommend for you. So when you look at other nootropics, usually, like if you go to GNC or you see some advertised, it's a one size fits all. So you just order one thing and it kind of does a little bit in many different areas, but generally you end up with like the least common denominator for each one of the different, drugs, the nootropics in the formula, right? So formula is great because they're optimized for specific things, which they've done surveys over the several years. So they are confident that these specific ones usually work pretty well for speaking, like Clarity, for example, or Creativity. It's great for writing or other, creative things that you may be doing. So anyway, check it out. Hopefully, this is a good demo for how well it works, because earlier I could barely talk. So Dennis says that Google had limited your AdSense in mid-November and removed it yesterday. So glad to be getting revenue again from AdSense. Cool. Congratulations. That's good to know. And John from Nigeria, what's up? Good to see you. All right, I'm going to have to cough here. This is not going to be as awesome. So hold on. I can mute. I used to have to do this on my conference calls all the time. Okay, and we're back. And with that awkward transition, I want to mention that I got a live read here. So I want to mention that Ezoic is a partial sponsor for the Doug Show. So this live stream is brought to you in part by Ezoic, and that's a software platform that helps website owners make more money from their websites. Ezoic uses machine learning. It's basically AI, but not the bad kind, the good kind that doesn't try and take over the world. And the goal is to provide a better visitor experience, which in turn helps you earn more money. So why is that? So Ezoic's AI optimizes the revenue on a per visitor basis. I was kind of ignorant of Ezoic, and I thought it was just another display ad network, but it's not. It's a software platform. It's an end-to-end platform, and you can use drag and drop ad placeholders as opposed to like what I was doing before, and that's sort of like copying and pasting code, kind of sloppy. I didn't know what I was doing. So it's much easier to sculpt your site and put ads where you want them to go. And the coolest part is that Ezoic will test the ads, the locations, the ad types to optimize the revenue. It'll do more of the things that are working and less of the things that are not working. They just rolled out a site speed accelerator, and it helps your site load faster by automatically doing all the best practices. So that's like optimizing images, lazy loading, optimizing the CSS, and all the complicated stuff that's kind of hard to set up with other speed plugins. So there's a free 7-day trial. You should check it out. There's a link in the description, so I encourage you to check out Ezoic and check out the 7-day free trial. There's no reason not to. Thanks a lot to Ezoic, and we will move on to the next little thing here. And give me a shout in the chat if you just hopped on. Welcome, everyone. I'm fighting a cold, so we're probably going to be doing a lot of clips today. We have Derek also in the area, in the Atlanta area here. We have Hazrat and Julius. What's up? Okay, so we're going to talk briefly about choosing a niche. This is a common question I get basically every week, and then I get emails coming in on that too. So there are many ways to do it. One of the best ways to start, I'll give you two great options. So number one, if you're trying to start an affiliate site, we'll just say Amazon, right? An Amazon affiliate site with the Amazon Associate Program, I would highly recommend that you just go to Amazon and start browsing products. Check out the different departments that are out there. It's kind of good if you have an interest in the specific topic, but it's not required. And the point is there are way more products out there maybe than you realize. So it's great if you can just go out there and start browsing. You will gravitate towards certain things. You'll realize that there are many products out there that have many categories and departments that have a range of products that are, in the right price range that you're looking for and that sort of thing. So if you just go look at the listings, that'll give you a great reference on what people are buying. You can see the number of reviews and if there are a lot of good reviews out there. The other thing to think about is if you're monetizing with display ads, for example, so not affiliate products. And in that case, it's almost wide open. It's wide open. Anytime that you can find a niche that has a lot of, enough search volume, I won't say a specific amount, but enough search volume where you can get traffic to your site. And if you have an interest in it, that's great. One really excellent way, actually, I'll give you a few options here. I just thought of a couple others. So sure, you have your hobbies and your interests, but you may not be aware of some of the others that are out there. So if you check out, books that exist, if there is a book written, then that sort of indicates there's a big enough audience to write a book and there's experts out there and people are trying to learn. You can look at magazines, which it's kind of redundant. You can review TV shows and channels. So there's many different reality type shows that are out there. So, and I thought of a few because we watch some of the ones I'll mention. So survival is great. Survival and prepping, the huge industries, right? But there are a few TV shows that we watch. One of them is called Alone. It's on the History Channel. So if you just go to the History Channel, so people are into history, but they also have, 20 different reality shows where people are doing things that you may not even be aware of. They're looking for gold and hunting for antiques or something like that. I don't know all of them. So I'm just picking an example that I barely know anything about, but that's a good reference, right? There's just tons of TV shows out there where people are watching them and you don't even know they exist. HGTV, where they go fix up homes, another huge industry that seems to be playing everywhere I go. It's at the gym, at the airport, all that stuff. So, okay. I think I have a clip about choosing a niche, maybe. What are profitable? So this clip that I will play here, a couple questions came in, profitable niches. And this actually covers what to do if you're stuck on page 2, which is another, thing that people are always interested in, how to improve your ranking. So you're on page 2, and what should you do? So let's roll this clip. Hey, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project, and in this video I'm going to answer 2 questions from viewers, so thank you for leaving comments and sending those questions in. The first question is from John P, and this is a super common question, not a great one. All right, I'm going to bust your balls a little bit. The question is, what are profitable niches? So that'll be the first one I tackle. And then question 2 is from Manzoor. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And basically Manzoor has a post or multiple posts that are ranking very high on the top of page 2, which means basically no one is even seeing it. I think that something like 90% of the traffic goes to like the first 3 positions or something like that. So if you're past that, you're not getting much. And if you're on page 2, you may as well be on page 20. So Manzoor is asking like, what can I do when I have a post that's ranking okay, but we need to get it on page 1. So I'll give you a few tips on that. All right, so number 1, John is asking about like what profitable niches are. So it's a tough question to answer because it won't be helpful if I just tell you financial advice is really profitable, or if I tell you that it's really profitable to go after like supplements or some sort of erectile dysfunction medicine. Those are really profitable, but they're also really competitive. So it's not really helpful because I know if you're asking this question, you're probably a beginner. So I shouldn't have busted your balls too much there. So I'm sorry. But basically, if you are looking at Amazon affiliate, right? We'll just make an assumption. You're looking at Amazon affiliate type monetization on whatever site that you're going to start. The best place to start is over on Amazon, because that is like the end goal, right? You want to sell something from Amazon. That's how you want to get your commission. Alternatively, right, if you want to push or market rather like info products or some sort of software, maybe you look at ClickBank or Commission Junction or something else. So you need to have your end goal in mind in what you want to do. And the thing is, like, if you go to Amazon and you start looking at the different departments, there are, dozens of them. And then there are subcategories within the departments, and there are thousands upon thousands and thousands of different products. And if you have a look, you could probably assume like, hey, it looks like they're selling quite a few of these babies. I think it's probably profitable. And you're probably right. The thing that I would look out for is if you find a department where everything's like super cheap. So I'll just make up a department. I don't think they have a search for it, but I don't think they have a department where it's like under $10. All right. You probably don't want to aim at a niche or a set of products where everything's like pretty inexpensive, because at that point you're going to end up with like very small commissions and you have to do really high volume. Again, I could tell by the question that you're a beginner, so getting a super high volume would be too ambitious, I'm going to say. So I would say that you should check out my blog, Niche Site Project, and there's a few posts around like keyword research and selecting a niche, and that should help you. One of the exercises that I teach is around going to Amazon, looking at some of the products, doing some brainstorming, and it helps guide you kind of in the right direction. And again, if products are being sold and there's a market around it, then it's probably profitable. Otherwise, you wouldn't see any products being sold. You wouldn't see competitors, right? That's another good test. If you, let's say you find a product that you're interested in, it's like a wireless mouse or something like that. You start looking for other competitors out there, you find other sites that review wireless mice, then you have a pretty good idea that it is indeed a viable niche where people are making money. Otherwise, there wouldn't be competitors out there. So it's good to see some competition. You don't want to see like a crazy amount of super hard competition, but like seeing some competition is a good thing. You don't want to be like the first person like reviewing a specific market or product that doesn't really exist yet. All right, you want to see a little competition. So next question is around improving your rankings if you're on the top of page 2. So luckily, most of SEO distills down to a couple main areas. One is around content, and the other is around backlinks. And there's a few different ways you can slice and dice those, but like the majority of your ranking and like how much traffic you get is going to be directly dependent on like the quality of the content. If that content is helping the visitor like solve their problem, whatever it is. Or the other area is around backlinks, which are sort of like votes to let like Google know that the content is like recognized as, I guess, helping to solve people's problems, right? So it's like a vote, and Google's like, hey, other sites are linking to it. That's a good thing. It's best if you have like relevant links from relevant sites and topics that are related to your topic. so that you have that relevancy. But those are the two main areas. So let's break it down. Number one, if you change content on your site and improve content for that particular post that you're having trouble with, Manzoor, then basically like you'll probably get the results and the impact much more quickly. So my advice to you is to improve the content on your site first. So go to that post, review it, see if you can improve the content by doing more research, finding like some of the best content online on that topic. And then if you are not covering it as well as the best out there, you should improve your content so that it is at least as good as the best content out there. And if you can, make it better. Another way that you can improve the content is to like add some frequently asked questions, which Google makes it very easy to find those now. You can put in your keyword, search for it, and then see like the frequently asked questions that show up. Make sure you cover those. Highly recommend putting a section in that is FAQs, and then you could put in like your subheadings, H2, H3 subheadings, for example, as the questions, right? So it's very clear you're covering that question in a subheading, and then you could just find all the relevant questions that you want to add and improve your content. So that is, one portion of improving the content. Let's move over to the links. So external backlinks, very important. So if you add more external backlinks from relevant sites that are related to the topic that you're covering, that is going to be like the most effective. It may take a little while for those results to, show themselves, but over time, getting links to the post that you're trying to rank is going to be a very good thing. You can also add links internally from your site, from other posts that are related, and point to the post that you're trying to rank. There's a tool called Link Whisper by Spencer Hoth over at Niche Pursuits. I've been testing that tool recently. It's been working really well for me, and I've been able to improve rankings pretty significantly for a few terms where I just went through and I found relevant posts that I can add links on my site to the post that I'm trying to rank, also on my site, and the rankings went up a lot. Spencer did the same thing on his site, and I've been slowly rolling it out and testing in various ways on different sites. So internal links, very powerful. It's similar to changing the content on your site in that usually if you make those internal link updates, you can see the reaction on your site in just a couple weeks. That's what I saw. I can't remember, I've done a few tests, but it seemed to be within a few days, and within 2 weeks, like things jumped up, and they tend to be staying where they are. They're stable. Things went up and they're good. So again, Manzoor, you could improve the content on your site, make sure it's pretty damn good, and then you could add backlinks internally, and you could add external backlinks to help improve the rankings on that site and on that particular page. So hopefully that helps. If you guys have questions, guys and gals, if you have questions, leave a comment in this video or any of the videos. I see them all. I may not be able to reply to all of them directly, but I do see them all, and I get great ideas for new videos. So thanks for watching.
Right. Man, my voice is just trashed. All right, we're back, and we got a couple questions coming through, so I'm going to hit those in just a second. Quick note on surviving a Google update, because they come around more often these days. So you should be calm. Don't overreact. Don't do a bunch of stuff, because most of the time we don't know what the specific update impacts or how to fix it. So if you run across someone who's saying, hey, this update just came through, here's exactly how you fix it, you can probably be sure that they don't know what they're talking about. Unless there's some specific, every now and then there's an update like Penguin or Panda where Google tells us, hey, it's about this, and then you could just refer to the original information that Google sends out, right? So, or that they put out. But here's the thing, like if you go, like if there's an update and you go and change a bunch of things, for example, let's say you think it's related to authority, and then you go out and try to hire some experts in the industry to write a bunch of content for your site, then you may just be wasting a bunch of time. And that is the key thing that I see. People just do a bunch of stuff that they think is going to work. And then if
there's a recovery, they attribute it to whatever activity they were doing, because that's how people's brains work. If you do a bunch of stuff and you think it's going to work and then you see some impact, then you will definitely attribute it. Most of the time, what seems to happen is if you make a bunch of changes, nothing will happen. However, sometimes if you don't do anything, Google tweaks their algorithm. That's kind of what they do. So it's different than it was back in the day, but generally that is sort of what I recommend. Just be calm. I put a link in the description. A friend of mine named Graham, I think he was making about $1,500 per month, got hit with an update, lost about 90% of his traffic. His earnings went down. So he sort of pivoted, changed how he was running things, and he outlines what he did and how he reacted, both from a psychological standpoint and, like actually what he was doing, the actions that he took for his site. So with that said, let's bounce over to some of these questions. So Adnan says that you're following the ebook word for word, but you're unable to decide a timeline. So additionally, it's like timeline and budget. So he has a budget of $5,000. How should he spend it in 6 months? I can't answer that for you. So if you have, $5,000 that you can spend immediately on day one, the faster you spend the money, basically, the more like output that you'll have, and the sooner that you can make money. So that is generally how it'll work. That said, you may not be able to get that return right away. And you're also asking about the timeline, how much money you would see. Now, what I can tell you is I would probably sort of space it out. Not necessarily evenly, but I think maybe in the first month, spend about $1,000, and then sort of portion it out for the rest of the time. It's also important, what you're going to be spending it on, which it sounds like you have an idea on what you want to do. Also, Adnan is asking about what should I expect to achieve by the 7th month. So I actually have a video that I think I talk about the first 6 months or so. This is kind of the highlight. So I would expect on average, right? There's many variables, but on average, by month 6, you probably should have your first $100 month. Maybe more, right? Some people do 1,000, but it depends on so many factors. So it could be between $50 and $1,000, right? But on average, a lot of people will hit about 100, ignoring many of those variables that impact things. So on the 7th month, maybe you'll be at $200. It kind of grows fast after you get out of the sandbox, after you get past that 6-month portion. John asks about keywords anywhere or everywhere and other alternatives. So I told him to check out KWFinder, one of my favorites right now. All right. Hazrat mentioned that you created a site, you published 10 pieces of content, and you're not getting any traffic. He says he's not using the keyword golden ratio, and they're just random keywords that he wanted to target. So he may need links, he may be keyword stuffing. I thought maybe he was using KGR, but basically, Hazrat, you need to do more homework. I can't answer. I don't know what program you were following. So if you just publish content, you're most likely going to need to get backlinks, make sure it's really good quality, at least match the quality and backlink profile of your competitors. So it just kind of depends. Next, what else do we have here? There's some decent questions in here, and thanks for all the folks that are in. If hit the thumbs up. We only have 5 likes at this point, which seems weak at this point in time. I think, actually, I don't know what the deal is. People don't seem to like the videos as much. Maybe it's me. All right. Alwayne asks, how's the age site case study going? It's going well. I think I haven't checked the earnings in the last couple days, but I think it's well over $100 for this month in December, which is good. All right. Derek says, earnings are consistently growing on your site. You have on your new site, and you'll have to send an earning report offline. Okay, cool. Yeah, Derek, that'll be cool. Congrats. All right. Lucas says, would I buy an age site again? It seems like the age site didn't do any better than the average new site in 6 months. So me personally, I wouldn't buy generally another site that's like a done for you site. And if you go back, Lucas, I've generally been like not favorable on like buying done for you sites. I think it's better to like learn the ropes by building things on yourself, which I mean, I've documented that, so I don't even have to like defend it too much. I think the premium that people pay for having the site built is much higher than like what I feel comfortable. So would I personally do it? No. However, this was all purely for a case study, because people were saying like, all right, if I buy a site, who should I buy it from? What services should I use? Blah, blah, blah. So it was like a full exercise of that. And what I am probably going to do, this is sort of a hot scoop here, I'm probably going to change the case study a little bit. So we're through about 6 months at this point, and I think what I may do is relax on using the services so much, because services are super expensive and it kind of kills the profitability. So it makes the expenses very high. It's, in my opinion, I think, Lucas, it actually worked better than a brand new site, because I started making money like right away. So I'm not sure. I think that's debatable, your assessment of it didn't do better than average in 6 months. So I think it's debatable. It didn't do as well as I thought for like this, chunk of time, but I haven't done any work on it. So I've only outsourced everything. So good question, Lucas. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have specific questions. I'm looking for topics and stuff to cover with age site case study. So thanks for asking that. All right, let's move on. There was a very popular interview that I did with Kyle Roof. And he's a expert SEO. He's very well spoken. He does like speaking for conferences and that sort of thing. So you may have seen him out there. And in this clip, he talks about the most impactful things to do first for like SEO and ranking. So this is relevant to a lot of people that are asking questions about rankings.
It runs under the theory that the secret is hiding in plain sight. Google is showing you the sites that it likes, and it's going to like some of these sites for their on page. Really, there are 3 reasons that Google likes a site. It's on page, it's off page, or a combination of the 2. So what we want to do, and you should be doing this, I think this is how you should be doing your SEO. These are the pages that are getting points for their on page. Now, are they perfect? No. But are they getting points? Yes. These are the ones that are getting for their off page. And then the idea is that if you could just follow that roadmap between those 2, you are going to rank well for just about any keyword you want to go after. And that roadmap is then given to you. So what POP does, what Page Optimizer Pro does, is it does that on-page portion. So you put in your competitors. So you have to evaluate, you have to look at your competitors, and we do give you some guidance on that. So that is probably the hardest part of the tool. You do need to look at your competitors and see like, okay, these guys are doing some on-page. You put them into the tool, and then what the tool will do is it'll make recommendations against your content on what you need to do to follow that roadmap. It'll give you that roadmap to follow is really the basic idea.
Cool. And then, like you said before, if someone makes some on-page changes and updates in a smart way with data behind it, then you potentially could get results in a few days or a couple weeks. Like you're pretty certain, like, hey, this worked or this didn't work, right?
That's exactly right. So if you have an existing page, you should read the best practices, because the best practices, I didn't write them for my own health. I think some people think that I did for some reason. But let's say the tool tells you to decrease. Well, you want to do that last. You want to do all your decreases last, because that's the biggest risk in SEO, is actually removing usage. So you want to do all your increases first. The tool organizes the signals almost by strength, almost exactly. They're just for convenient purposes, but most of it. So you want to start at the top and work your way down, and you want to do changes in small bunches so that you can actually watch how those. So we talked about 1 to 2 cache dates. That's a good rule to follow. You make some changes. Let's wait 10 days. Let's wait 14 days. Let's see if we get any movement. Let's see if we get movement up or down. And an on page, after 14 days, if you had downward movement, it's probably something you want to undo. So like you want to keep an eye on that. But if you did say 50 changes at once, you're not going to know what may or may not have caused that. So you want to do small changes, do the most impactful things first, and do all your increases first. And if you follow those kind of guidelines, most of the time you're going to go up when you do your on page.
Okay, very cool. And by the way, like for people that don't know, there, like you said, there's like a usage guide. What is it called? The
just best practices.
Best practices. So
yeah. I actually make you check a box that says that I've read that, but I know that everybody just checks the box and clicks.
I know.
Apply.
I was like, man, there's so much here. But my main takeaway was like the important thing that you just mentioned, where it's like, do the stuff at the top at first, and then be sure that you add before you subtract.
It's a huge important point. Unless you look at it, because sometimes you get into a page and it's like, whoa, we are off. But right. the pages that have the most success reducing, like even in like reducing word count, you get into it and you realize like, oh wow, we've got 4,000 pages, but 4,000 words, but everybody else only has 1,000. Pages that are really old, 2 to 3 years, when people kind of circle back, like, that page never did what I thought it was going to do, and then they do those types of things. Those are the ones that are most successful with decreasing or reducing, or kind of older established pages. So if you have a newer kind of page, I would be very hesitant to do any kind of reducing out of the gate.
Okay, very cool.
All right. So if you want to check out the other clips, or the full interview rather, from Kyle, you can search for Kyle Roof on my channel. And like I said, really smart guy. I think we get deep into technical SEO topics, which is pretty interesting. A lot of people really enjoyed that and want me to have Kyle back on, which I probably will in the near future. So thanks everyone for giving the thumbs up. If you haven't given a thumbs up, where should I put my hand here? A thumbs up, and like the video, please do it. So let's see, a couple more questions came through, so I just want to have a look here. Dennis mentioned that he's probably looking to buy a site with buying a site with revenue is my plan for 2020, one with $100 to $300 profit per month, which is interesting. I'm literally doing that right now. So I think those are kind of ripe for improvements. And if you kind of have an idea about like some actions to take to boost the revenue in the short term, like for example, maybe it's not monetized internationally and there's enough traffic to make that worthwhile, or maybe there's no link building that's been done. So there's a couple little things that you can look for. All right. Ken says, Merry Christmas. Do you think a site that you add 75 articles on with 125,000 words total in a decent niche would be able to rank if you leave it alone, or do you need to keep adding content? So it could rank without adding more content, but I think there's a little thing baked into your question here, Ken. It sounds like you think adding more content will help you rank. Adding more content doesn't help you rank. Adding links maybe would help you rank. Improving content, that could help you rank. But just like adding more content inherently is not like a ranking factor. To my knowledge, there's like many hundred of them, but just adding more content is not going to like improve your ranking. So you may need to add links. And Ken, I think, there's a couple of things baked in there. All right, Adnan is asking, how would you portion the $1,000 a month? How much should you spend on blah, 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 blah? I would say 50-50. Just split it down the middle. That's probably going to give you the best just breakdown for ROI versus like trying to surgically figure out your budget or anything like that. All right. Next, John is asking about the Moz bar and if I have a video. I generally don't use the Moz bar, and if you want like information on how to use the Moz bar, I would point you just towards Moz. They have like pretty good documentation over there, so I would just have a look at that. And someone, Brian, was asking about what to do if you're a non-native English speaker and you want to put out a content site. So I recommend hiring an editor, hiring writers that are native English speakers. And then the other tool that I'll recommend is Grammarly. So I use Grammarly Premium, but there's a free version and it'll generally proofread the content. The premium version gives you a couple like big features. So one is a plagiarism checker, so you can double check and make sure that your writers are not copying work from somewhere else. It works very well. The other is sort of like a writing coach, and it'll make recommendations. So if something's not clear, or it's in the passive voice, or it could be stated in a more clear way, it will give you tips on how to tighten up the writing. It works very well, and I use it for like all the writing that I do, basically. So it fits, what is it? It's a browser extension. So it's a browser extension, and it'll work on almost anywhere where you're writing content, including like YouTube descriptions. So when I'm writing a YouTube description, it'll tell me if there's something wrong. When I'm writing an email in Gmail, when I'm writing an email in Aweber, if I'm using WordPress, it'll work within all those text fields. So very powerful tool. Again, there's a free version, so there's no reason not to use it. There's a link in the description. Again, I'm an affiliate for it. So, and I think, we've got some good questions out there. So I'm going to, let's see, what other clips do we have going here? Because my voice is going south. Oh, this is a great one. So we talked a little bit earlier about choosing a niche. And I think, figuring out, like, are you doing an affiliate site? Are you trying to find products that you need to review? And then at that point where you've picked a niche, there's many different products. So how should you choose which products to review on your site? And if you get a writer to write it, you may need to give them a recommendation, or if you want them to choose for you, that could be okay as well. And I talk about choosing products. In fact, if you have a writer doing it for you, you could just send them this video and let them watch it, and then they could figure out which products to choose. So let's roll this one.
I'm going to go over 3 ways that you can pick products to review for your niche site. My name is Doug Cunnington. I'm from Niche Site Project. And if you're interested in getting this list plus a few more details, go to nichesiteproject.com/3. Just enter your email address and I'll send it to you straight away. All right, you picked your niche. You figured it out, you've done the keyword research, and you know it's a good niche. If you're not sure how to pick your niche, check out some of the other videos. I'll actually put a link below so you could get a little better idea how to pick a niche. But if you've already picked your niche, you may wonder what kind of products you need to be reviewing. So the hard part is there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of different products that you could choose to review on your site. So how do you pick? So I'm going to go over 3 ways to help you narrow it down. The first one I hope is obvious, but head over to Amazon and look at the product category, right? So you'll see a big list, again, thousands of them. All you have to do is go over to the left-hand side and filter for the 4 and 5-star ratings. Now, the idea here is you want to have good products, right? You want to be able to recommend the products, maybe point out 1 or 2 flaws, but in general, you want to cover and review products that are useful, right? That's the whole idea. So if you look at the ones that are highly rated, that'll give you a really good idea of, 1, people are buying and using them, and they're interested enough in the product that they're actually leaving reviews. And that is a good thing. Next, not everyone is going to be able to afford the 4 and 5-star rated products, right? Some people are always on the lookout for the budget item. They're short on cash. Maybe they just like cheaper stuff. They'd rather buy 3 or 4 of a product versus like 1 great one. They'd rather buy 3 or 4 and they will break and they'll buy another one. So some people just always want to bargain. So with that in mind, I always like to have a few expensive options. Let's say I have 5 products reviewed on a certain post. I'll have maybe 3 of them are more expensive, right? They're the top tier and they are more expensive. The other 2 will often be the budget option. They will be on the low end of the price range. So if the average price of the product is $100, the budget options may be $20 to $30. So I'll look very much at the bottom of the pricing structure, just because some people always want a bargain. Trust me, they're not going to be interested in spending $100 or $150 if they can get the $25 version that does most of the job, right? So always pick a budget option as well. And the third thing to consider is the number of reviews. So if you just go over to a specific product and look at the number of reviews, it won't really tell you much, because some products will have 14 reviews and other products will have 14,000. So the thing you have to do is look at several of these products, and at some point after you're looking at the 4 and 5 star, and then you're looking at the cheaper options for a specific product line, you'll have a pretty good idea about the number of reviews that you see on average. So if you pick an item that has quite a few reviews, that does 2 things. One, it tells you that people are actually buying it because that many people reviewed it. And then the other thing is that product now has a lot of social proof. So if you recommend a product and someone on your website clicks over to Amazon and they see that product has 400 reviews and some of the other products only have 50, a lot of times that social proof 400 reviews versus 50 reviews is going to be enough to nudge them in that direction. So those are the 3 ways I recommend checking out products and selecting products to review on your site. Remember, look at the 4 and 5 star reviews. You can also look at some cheaper items. So be sure to go sort of at the bottom of the price range too. Some people always love a bargain. And then the third thing is just look at the relative number of reviews for products in the same product line, and then you'll have a good understanding what people are purchasing, and you'll get great social proof through that. Again, if you want to check.
All right. So let me know if you dig these clips. I really enjoy playing them. It does give me a break during the live stream, but it's a great way to repurpose the content. I know sometimes people don't watch all the videos. There's a lot of them out there. So I'm enjoying doing the clip show style here, where we can chat a little bit. I can actually type and answer questions for people, that sort of thing. So funny thing happened. This is total tangent. So we're traveling around a bit. We've stayed at my parents'. We've stayed at my sister's. Now we're at my wife's parents'. So we're in just different locations. And Georgie's with us. She's a little stressed out. She does enjoy riding in the car, but she's not as social and friendly as she looks. People have probably seen videos or pictures of her on the channel here. And funny thing happened last night. So we sort of woke up in the middle of the night to get some water or something like that, and we couldn't find Georgie. The door is closed. She should be in here. And she was underneath the bed, which is extremely narrow. I don't know how she got in there, but the thing is she couldn't crawl out. She was halfway out. She was trying to squirm her way, and she was obviously sleeping pretty hard, so she looked tired and sort of out of it. So she basically was stuck. Her hind quarters were stuck back there. So I just lifted the bed like a mother lifting a car to get her child out. I lifted the bed and she kind of squirmed out, and then she's doing good. She's doing good now. So it was pathetic, to be honest with you, but I don't know why she went under there. There were no loud noises, super quiet like where we're at right now. So anyway, let's see here. Real Dance Hall Fan says, do I own any affiliate sites that use ClickBank? No. The answer is no, but ClickBank is fine. There's tons of products out there in that marketplace. For people that are not familiar, it is a marketplace style affiliate matching situation. So if you want to sell different kinds of products, there's a lot of info products or software products,
with ClickBank, but they have like a full platform. They've been around for many years. I've had a couple sites that use ClickBank as a little bit of a monetization portion, which is a great way to monetize an email list. A lot of times you can send someone down the sales funnel in a very specific way. So like, because of the content that they are checking out on your site, that they're interested in a specific product and they have a problem they want to solve. And a lot of times the commission rate is very high. So Amazon, on average, there's a range, right? But on average, I find the Amazon commission rate is around 5 to 6%, maybe 4.5 to 6%, something like that on average. For ClickBank, a lot of times the commission rate is around like 50%, 75% for some products. So you can make a lot more money with fewer sales. All right. And I'm just checking over some of the other questions. Adnan is asking again, is it a good idea to write information articles? Sure, you can do that. I have an article over on Niche Site Project where it's basically talking about low competition information articles to get in traffic and just have your site be favored by Google. And Tosh mentions you like the clips. Great, you're happy I'm getting over the cold. And let's see, Agers is saying you're trying to recover your website after an update, 3 times organic traffic drop after the last update. So, and I talked about that just a little bit. So Agers, I encourage you to check out the article that Graham wrote. There's a link in the description. He's another student of 5-Figure Niche Site. And Adnan gives me a recommendation for cough and sore throat. Thanks for that. And Tom says, do I use a dedicated IP address for my sites, and are they under the same hosting account? So generally I have them separated. When I first started out, I just put multiple sites on the same hosting account so they're on the same IP address, because most hosting accounts will allow you to host multiple sites. And I was like, I'll save some money. I don't want to pay for more hosting. But as sites get more traffic, you end up bogging down the CPU and the memory gets used up. So your sites load slower, which isn't great. And just in general, if there's an issue, let's say a server goes down, then all your sites are impacted, versus if you have multiple accounts, there's a little bit of buffer, a little bit of just fail safe, sort of like different servers in place. I use multiple hosting companies and multiple accounts. So I think on SiteGround, I have something like 4 accounts, and there's another company called MDD Hosting. I have like something like 4 or 5, I don't even remember. I have several accounts over there as well. So even to the point, like I use a different hosting account for the Doug.Show podcast versus like Niche Site Project and so on. I do have a couple things paired up where it makes sense, or at least at the time it made sense. So 5-Figure Niche Site on the same server as Niche Site Project, because those are work together. So as far as a dedicated IP, I don't necessarily use a dedicated IP. I'm usually on a shared server, but usually there's only 1 or 2 other accounts on there. So it's a semi-dedicated server, I think is what they call it, semi-dedicated hosting, something like that. If you just get a plain old hosting account, then you may end up, or a shared hosting account, you may end up on a server with 800 other websites, which is much different than 8 or something like that. So cool. And I think we have one other clip here from Kyle Roof. Again, if you want to check out his full interview, you can just search on my channel for Kyle Roof, or on YouTube in general. I think it should show up as well. So he's talking about, in this clip I'm about to play, he's going to be talking about how soon you can see results after you make changes. And he's a person who runs a lot of technical SEO experiments. So he'll make changes using the scientific method and controls, and he will monitor if any changes happen so that he knows if something works or not. So let's hear it from Kyle.
Well, so like if you're looking at like an on-page sort of thing, what's funny is you can get results within minutes. You know, when you re-index the pages or you resubmit them to say the Search Console, you can often see, especially for stronger signals, stuff within 10, 15, 20 minutes, which is remarkable. Usually, though, if we're looking at it, we're like, hey, we're not getting any movement here. You want to look, and this is real life anyway, about maybe 2 cache dates, which is usually maybe 5 to 7 days when cache is working properly. So maybe 14 days. If we don't get movement, then we might move on in an on-page sense. But like you're talking about with off-page, with links, the real frustrating thing is even in these small environments, it can take weeks upon weeks, 2-3 weeks, 6-8 weeks. I've seen those in test environments where it just takes that long for a link to pass any kind of juice, even within such a small controlled area. So
Okay.
links take forever.
Gotcha. And that's been my observation over time as well, where it used to be, even in 2013, when it sounds like you were getting into like SEO deep. Is that right? 2013 is
Yeah,
when, okay. Yeah, it would be like
as a full-time gig, yeah.
right. And it was like 2 or 3 days, and you could see like what links helped. You could adjust anchor text, and it was like pretty powerful to have that knowledge. Now, it's my hunch, and you can confirm or disagree. Like Google throttled it back, so we don't know what we're doing with all these variables. We don't know what helped rankings or hurt rankings, so we can't exploit things as well as marketers. So is that kind of your
You
hunch
could
too?
also think that things just got bigger. You know, there's more to crawl since then, exponentially more, and it just might take more time.
That's
It is
true.
another possibility.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
so
true.
like there are times where I think when there's like the fool you stuff that Google brings into play, but I think a lot of it is serendipity for them. Just like, oh, we didn't realize that would happen because it would take so long, but that's great. You know, it's a built-in thing because it takes that long to process those URLs. You know, wherever they
Interesting.
hit in the queue, and then that turns into this much time now, and now it looks like they turned a gauge when really it was just things got bigger.
All right. And again, that was Kyle Roof. So you can check out the full interview by searching on the channel. And we're going to be wrapping up here. And Adnan asks, how can we stay updated on your live sessions? I'll give you 2 main options. And you should probably do both if you really want to be up to date. So you can sign up for the email list, nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, enter your name and email. And typically, at least for the last couple months, I've been sending an email prior to these sessions with a link, and you get a few hours notice typically. Sometimes you only get about 30 minutes like today, but most of the time you get a couple hours notice. The other way, which I think may have like not as high a success rate, but you should do both. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications. So that is the best way, or the best way is to make sure you're notified. So, and Tosh is asking, what camera and microphone do I use for live streams? So today I'm just using my MacBook Pro with the FaceTime camera or whatever's in here. I think it's a 720p situation. Usually it's pretty good. And then I'm using this microphone, the Audio Technica ATR 2100, and it has a USB hookup right there, but it also has an XLR right there, that round one. And I also can use this for it's a Zoom H4n recorder. So I could plug this into my recorder if I want to plug directly in and not use the laptop. My other what is this? It's a webcam. It is a Logitech. I think it's a 920 something or other, 920C maybe, and it is a 1080p, and that's the one I have at home, but I didn't bring it on the road because this is going to be good enough for most things. So it's a little bit higher resolution, and I think it's a tiny bit more
I think it's a tiny bit more like exact with the focus, but it actually searches for focus more than this one. This camera actually works pretty well for just an out of the box situation. So, and then this microphone works great, very versatile. Like I said, with a USB and the XLR plug-in, then yeah, super easy to take care of whatever I need it to do. And I have traveled all over the place with it, brought it up to Alaska, and down here to Georgia. So it's been all over the place, thrown in my backpack and just bumped around and abused a little bit. Okay. Another question, Backlinko stated that long tail are dead and we should try to target medium tail to blah, 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 to optimize for rank brain, which is like a Google machine learning situation. That's one of the main ranking factors. What's my insights about it? So I don't think long tail keywords are dead, but Brian Dean at Backlinko is very smart. So I think you could probably do really well with medium tail keywords. So I encourage you to test and try both methods and see which one seems to work better for you. I think probably long tail keywords will work faster. You probably won't get as much traffic in the long run, but if you're just starting, then I encourage you to check out long tail keywords. Long tail is not going to go away, I don't think. So I don't think that'll be an issue. And Stuart says you found today's live stream by desktop notification and it gave you a 2-hour notice. You usually miss them. Okay, that's awesome that it actually worked for you. And one thing that I think happens is Google sometimes sends out or YouTube sends out a notification email, and depending on whether you watch a lot of the videos or you're subscribed, you may get those emails, and the more that you watch and the more that you click the link and actually watch the video, I think you'll be more likely to get them in the future. So it's one of those situations. I'm not 100% sure, but I have heard that mentioned a few times. Okay, and last, Tom asks, do I use an external monitor with my MacBook? Yes, I do. Sometimes I have like dual monitors going on, but a lot of times I'll just use the bigger screen. I'm not usually multitasking like too much, so I can just have like one big window open and it's a little easier to see. It's at the right level, so I don't have to look down like I am right now. All right, thanks everyone for hopping on today, and subscribe, click the bell for notifications if you want to be aware, and sign up for the email list. Another shout out to Ezoic for underwriting this show, so appreciate that. Check out Ezoic, there's a link in the description. And another shout out for Formula, my favorite nootropics company, and it helped me speak today. I think I did better than the mumbling mess that I would have been earlier. So definitely check out Formula as well. Everybody have a great weekend.